All right, Brew will be with us all evening long, and Abby's with me all evening long, which is fantastic. And I guess my question for you is what do you expect today out of this? I mean, can these lower-seeded teams who need to have that huge win come out and pull us off?
You just heard Kelly Griffin speak of the bounce of the ball. It is sevens, it is short, it's sharp, it's nonstop action. So 14 minutes, it goes by in a flash. Whichever team can minimize their errors will come out on top. But these teams haven't faced each other yet. So it's a new challenge, it's exciting. And this first matchup, we're just starting with a bang. Loonies, the reigning champs from Minnesota, are facing off against the Loggerheads, who have brought in Ulunisau, a Fijian flyer. She was named to the dream team for the women's circuit, and she's going to bring a lot of pizzazz out there on the pitch.
Well, in this first match, as Abby just mentioned, there are a lot of stars to keep an eye out for, and it is a jam-packed roster of talent. How about Gonzales? We've obviously talked about Bese, but boy, oh boy, it doesn't get much better.
Gonzales, a Canadian international. She has that physical stature. She makes her presence known on the pitch, but she's a finisher as well. And like you mentioned, both of these sides are just stacked. There is talent across the pitch, from the aerials to the speed to the tackling, and the energy is just going to be phenomenal.
It's going to be a good one to watch, and we're getting ready to send the players to the pitch. Fans are all here for this one, and let's get them all set and started. It's going to be rugby action coming to you from PayPal Park. Pleasure to have you along for Premier Rugby Sevens. Nick Gizmani alongside Abby Gustitis-Bree. Kim is down pitch side, and we are pretty much set to go for our first women's semifinal match. The Loonies and the Loggerheads. Abby, again, when you think about these two teams and you think about what's at stake today, what's the conversations going on inside the locker room before this gets going?
The Loonies will need to focus on one thing at a time. They can't get caught up on having lifted that trophy in Minnesota. It's not given here. They have to go out and perform every play. And then on the other side, you have the Loggerheads. A little disappointing performances from them, given that this team does train together a little more frequently with that Rhinos Academy.
We are all set to get this one started from PayPal Park. Pleasure to have you along. Lots at stake. Everybody trying to punch their ticket to the championships in August in Washington. Naimasi gets things started, and there is the kick from the Loggerheads, and right away you get it, and it's Carissa Norston getting taken down quickly. And remember, in rugby, the passes have to be moved backwards. You can move it forward, but that has to be used by a kick. We'll keep you apprised to all of that as it comes into play, but what an exciting sport. It's Crossley now on that far side of the pitch. Good turnout here at PayPal Park in San Jose.
And that's Bianca Silva, you see, wearing that number 11, the Brazilian international. And we already spoke about Renee Gonzales already making her presence known in the middle of the pitch.
Good contact right away. These two teams going to be very physical. We certainly saw that in Minnesota. And a chance at a break. And oh, look at this run. Pihikuru will get stopped just over midfield and move to that far side. Loonies coming in, and that is Bianca Silva to tap it down for the try, and it's an early 5-rip lead for the Loonies.
Bianca Silva's second touch of the ball, first try of the day here in San Jose, and that woman has scorched so many pitches across the globe, and she just gets going within the first minute here of PR7s.
No problem on the conversion. Silva put her right down in the middle, and one more look at her run.
Just coasting on the outside. She does. Bese, who is no slouch whatsoever. But it all started from Kayla Maleshi. Starting in that middle of the pitch, she had that half gap, gets the go forward. Loggerheads are rolling back, and then it's a simple execution of speed on the outside.
So Bianca Silva with the early try, the 2020 Olympian, makes it 5-0. The conversion was good, so 7-0 with 5 to go, and the Loggerheads with some possession. Push down hard on this near side. Picked up and moved back by Weston. Out of the middle, over to Naimasi. Naimasi gets things started to the far side. And look at this. Here's an opportunity way on that far side into the hands of Ulunisau. And she will find the try zone right in between the uprights to bring it to within 2.
Reapi, Ulunisau, the 3 Fijians connecting for the Loggerheads. Was a beautiful setup from Bese, usually on the outside, but she drags the defense across, creates a really nice gap, and Ulunisau has so much pace. Just coasts down the pitch, no one back for the Loonies, and ties it up.
So Abby, let's take a look at how this got started.
So it's Naimasi sends it to Bese. You see her dragging Gonzales. Gonzales is fully committed, hips to the sideline, and then that inside defense from Loonies just a little too delayed. So creates that nice gap for Ulunisau to slice right through.
Conversion is good, so tied at 7 with 3:40 to go in the first. It's the Loonies with it near side. Roughed up is Kelter.
You're on the mark, you're on the mark.
Just a long arm penalty there from the Loonies. Referee said not taken from the mark as the Loggerheads came in from the side.
All right, let's catch up with Bree. She's down pitch side. What do you got for us, Bree Kim?
We've already seen examples of attack from both sides. Of course, the Loggerheads, the Rhino Loggerheads striking first, or excuse me, they just scored, but they really utilized the width. The Loonies, who we saw score first, actually really compressed the defense by getting some hard carries up the middle. So contrasting styles of play from the beginning, and as we see this Loonies put in, we'll wonder if Alev is going to crash here first.
Good stuff from Bree Kim. She's down pitch side with us. The put in will be paused for a moment. Referee with some instruction.
There's always a little back and forth within the scrum. You have the 3 forwards from each side going head to head. Just a little battle there.
Loonies well spread out. They'll move this ball quickly from left to that far side, but a turnover in the middle. Here will be the kick. Nicely done by Pihikuru. Recovered by the Loggerheads on that far side. That's Pyrz. To the middle for Bese. Bese moves it back into the hands of Naimasi, and it happens just that quickly.
And it's a high tackle, so Loggerheads look to go quickly. It's the try scorer, Ulunisau. Can she outdo Silva? And she is in for a double. You see the referee blow the whistle, and that woman is making a statement here in San Jose.
Our second try, and that puts the Loggerheads up again, and they come from behind, and that's what you like to see. This Loggerheads team has been very good all season long. They now have 12, and the play of Ulunisau early on is just pure power and speed.
It's that Fijian flair we're used to seeing on the 7 circuit, the offload style, and then they're just always running lines, supporting one another. As you see there, Ulunisau converts her own try. A little high tackle coming in from the Loonies, that's what makes them retreat. She uses her footwork and the strength and the speed to finish it off. But this all started from the Loonies kicking away possession. So next scrum, I think they'll probably hold on to that ball, look to execute, maintain, build some pressure and work down the pitch. That kicking tactic can work, but it's not so often seen in the sport of sevens.
And the thinking being, obviously you want to advance the ball, get it out of your own end, but if you don't think you have the legs to pull that off, why pull a move like that?
They were backing Bianca Silva on the edge, which she is a world-class winger, but she's going against a world-class winger. And here's one more look here at Ulunisau. Just taken down a little awkwardly, but she maintains her position on the field, gets back as they kick off.
That trainer took a look at her. She seems to be fine, paused on that kickoff, but back to the action now, and it's the Loonies trying to get out of their own end. Crossley over to Pihikuru. Pihikuru to the hands of Ogunjimi. Now it's on the far side, and the Loonies doing their best to spread it out, but ball will head outside into touch, and so we'll have a line out. But first, let's go down to Bree Kim. Bree.
Lots of comms down here on the sideline. I'm standing right next to the Rhino Loggerheads bench, and of course the king of sevens, Gonzales. He has been barking communications this entire game, and they're even getting communications from the men's side of the staff who are sitting up now, supporting the women's team. It's very interesting seeing the two sides because they're very different right now. Quiet on the Loonies side, so we'll see what happens at halftime.
Loggerheads with the recovery. Ulunisau now with it, and she's got some speed again, taken down towards the middle. Ball will come loose, retrieved by Lou, and the Loggerheads escape a little bit of trouble. Now it's on the near side, and here comes the pressure. Bese down on to the kick ahead by Weston, and that will go into touch.
Ran out of options there. You see there was only 2 Loggerheads, including Bese, who fires it back inside to her teammate. Sort of a last-ditch effort, kicks in behind, but rolling into touch, so you're giving away possession again.
I'll tell you what, Ulunisau has still not been quite right since that tackle. She's favoring a little bit of an injury here so far, it looks like, but she'll stay in, but a little bit shaken up after that hit.
Physical sport, full contact. No ill intentions meant by it, but again, something you have to work through, fight through. So we'll see if she comes back into this second half as Loggerheads have the lead at halftime.
14-7 after just 7 minutes of action. Everybody hydrating, and you have to remember this is done at full tilt on a full-size field. So even though sevens fewer players, it is the same pace, it is the same physicality, and you are absolutely gassed. All right, make sure that you get the official gear of PR7s at shop.pr7s.com. 14-7, pleasure to have you along for this one. Make sure you get all that good gear. I could use some more gear.
Always use more gear, more stash, and 8 teams to choose from, but right now, it's got to be Loonies or Loggerheads, so.
I mean, I'm kind of favoring we're in the Golden State. I love the Retrievers. They got the little stuffed animal mascot on the sideline. I mean, that's an effort for me. I'm a dog guy anyway, Abby.
Well, that makes one of us, so.
Don't like dogs.
I'll stick to the rugby.
We'll have to talk about that later.
But we have ourselves another tight matchup here on your screen there. Natalie Bjorklund spent some time training with the USA Sevens team and now training with the Rhinos Academy in Southern California. But what a first half.
Ulunisau with 12 points for the Loggerheads. It was Silva, Kelter, and Naimasi also getting on the board for points. Naimasi had 2, Kelter had 2, and Silva with 5. All right, second half underway here at PayPal Park in San Jose, California. Loggerheads with it. They will control, moving now from right to left on your television screen. To the far side, the Loggerheads a little bit hemmed in. They're going to have to try to find some space, and they will. Namosimalua down. She'll find a way to move the ball out. Loggerheads now trying to get a little bit of gapping here. Beautiful pitch to the hands of Ulunisau, and she will have to reverse and run into a little bit of a loony wall in the middle of the pitch. Taken down hard, but back up to her feet. Perfect pass into the hands of Naimasi. Bese trying to find some space and some pace, but she was taken down. Ball pops out into the hands of the Loonies. And
it's a frenetic start to this second half. We see the Loggerheads were trying to use their physicality, get out of their own 22. And the Fijians just balanced runners, right? They get hit, but they stay on their feet. There's their support, but just a little miss pass, and Loonies did well to dive on that. That was Kayla Maleshi. She's really already made an impact here in this match.
So we'll have a scrum, but first, let's go down to Bree Cambry.
Heard some quick messages at halftime from both teams. For the Rhino Loggerheads, they wanted to shift quicker. They felt like they could apply even more pressure. Now for the Loonies, they said that the team who has the most possession this half is going to win, so they are looking to make the most of this first possession.
Good stuff, Bree. And it is the Loonies trying to come from behind. They make a run on that far side. Ball will come down in a tackle, but good movement here. Loonies finding some space. Look at this. Big opportunity on the run and taken down just before, but it'll go in for the try, and touchdown is Valenzuela. And that will bring this to within 2 as the Loonies find that possession and get a little bit of offense on a great run.
The Canadian women connecting for the Loonies, and Renee Gonzales, that was all her from the start. Had that break, connects with her teammate Valenzuela, running a beautiful support line inside. It wasn't a perfect pass, but great hands there and the awareness to support her teammate. It all started from a little bit of a disjointed defense from the Loggerheads. They actually had 2 people in the backfield, so it was a shortened defensive line, big gap there. Gonzales spots it. Pyrz does really well to get back, but then Ulunisau potentially just nursing that injury from the first half still. You see Gonzales gets her arms free, and Valenzuela just scoops it up and is under the post. And we have ourselves another tie game, which I am on repeat from Minnesota.
Well, you know what? That's why this changes so quickly. But as you mentioned, full credit to Gonzales there for getting that started initially, and all tied up at 14 with 3:50 to go. Loggerheads with that possession now. Far side, big tackle. They will wait. Ball will come loose. Kicked ahead. That one's by Pyrz. And again, we see a turnover there, Abs, and the Loonies will win that battle to the loose ball.
I'm not kicking the ball away if it's tied 14-14. And to that danger woman, the 2-time Olympian, Alev Kelter. She is so difficult to bring down. She makes about 50 meters, and now Loonies just have a massive overload. See if they can exploit it.
It was Silva into the hands of Ogunjimi, and just off the hands, and it'll be knocked on. Oh, and a perfect opportunity with just 3 to go, and a little mistake on this near side of the pitch causes that knock on.
Just letting her eyes off the ball. It was simple through the hands. Just lets it go forward. Should be disappointed not catching that one on the full. Try line was straight ahead, no one in front.
Had the wide open lane to put the Loonies into the lead. So it will be a scrum.
Now Loggerheads ball deep in their own 22. They've elected to kick a few times. However, tied ball game, which we've spoken of. So for me, I'm using the width. I'm backing the footwork and the pace of my teammates here.
This one won't work. They'll try it again. And while we wait for that scrum, let's go down to Bree Kim. Bree?
We talked about the sun already, guys, but it is a nice and chilly 89 degrees right now, pitch side, and you're seeing it start to really affect the energy levels here. So you're wondering what kind of subs these coaches are going to make in these last few minutes.
Good stuff, Bree, and we'll talk about the subs a little bit, Abby. I mean, in these final minutes, Loggerheads will pick it up, and now here they will elect to kick it again, but perhaps a run. Naimasi trying to get to it, went for another opportunity at the kick, but could not. Gauto will pick it up, and we will remain tied at 14, as you were saying.
It's a high-risk, high-reward style of play within sevens, especially kicking it. You're backing yourself, and when it works, you truly are the hero, and it's incredible. But here, just a little mishandle, and now you're gifting possession back to the Loonies. They have a midfield scrum. This is a great attacking opportunity. You have threats on both sides. Alev Kelter pulling the strings with Kayla Maleshi here.
That time the kick almost did work, though, for the Loggerheads, so it was a little bit more well thought out. So clearly that must have been the conversation ahead of time if they have these opportunities.
Right, almost doesn't count in rugby or get you points on the board, unfortunately. So Loonies here, you see Kelter and Maleshi having a quick conversation. There's a lot of space on the bottom side of your screen. The Loggerheads defense super condensed in their back line.
So Weston did just come out for the Loggerheads. Gonzales in. We talked about that. There will be some subs. The heat is a factor, but the Loonies with a chance. A nice run here into the hands of Maleshi. Look at the room that they have on this far side. There's the pass into the hands of Norston. Norston cuts back to the middle. Will be knocked down, but The pass will be successful. Ball comes loose, and it should be Looney's ball.
Ball will stay in possession with the Loonies. It seems to have been knocked on within the tackle, so no intent there. You see the referee making the tackle signal, so just an accidental knock on here. So it will be a scrum now on this right-hand side. Kayla Maleshi did so well there to read the defense, have that break up the middle, and then Looney's just not quite connecting on those second and third touches.
Lohaus coming in on the Loggerheads side. Thiesby coming in on the Looney side, so a pair of 14s as we get set for this scrum. Loonies figure it out. Possession was theirs. Long pass. Won't make the complete reach, but will it be good enough? Is Silva trying to find the try zone? She's tackled down. Ball is out and clean. Looney's trying to make that move, and it's Kelter, who we talked about being so hard to take down. Gets it close to the try line and will find it. So with 50 seconds to go, Kelter, who is just so strong and tough, finds 5 more points.
Never liked lining up against her in training. I always walk to the opposite side of the field, but she bullies her way over that try zone. She comes from an ice hockey background, so super strong, super well balanced, and that low center of gravity, and just works her way into the whitewash.
I was talking to some hockey players in between the Minnesota stop and here, and hockey players have an affinity for thinking they're pretty tough. And when we talked about rugby, they're like, nah, it is nothing like rugby players.
You see Alev there at the back of the scrum, just scoops it at the base, spots a little gap, and it took 3, maybe 4 loggerheads to bring that woman down. But she was too close to the try zone. She wasn't going to be stopped from that far out.
Well, you could just see the power. She knew she was draped, had to end up just moving the legs and finds a way. Will she get the extra conversion?
Now she knows that time is expiring. She has 30 full seconds to take that kick. And what a beautiful strike, but it looks like it just goes off to the left. Now there's almost 10 seconds left, so there will be a restart. Alev's gonna take her time getting there. The clock will run out, so this will be last play. So if Loggerheads can maintain possession off this kickoff, get down the pitch, there is a chance that they will progress to the final.
For those of you new to Rugby Sevens, even though time has now expired, as Abby just said, we're not done yet. Oh, and just off of the hands, but the Loggerheads recover before it goes into touch, and one last little chance at it here.
And remember, if the Loonies win this match, they are automatically going to DC and booking their tickets.
And the Loonies will pick up a turnover on just a fumble. The Loggerheads had the opportunity. It will be kicked into touch by the Loonies. This one will finish off. It'll be a 19-14 final. And it is the Loonies who have already punched their ticket to DC.
They were the #1 seed coming into this tournament. You see what it means. They know that if they won this match, they were going into the final today. But more importantly, they're going into that final in DC in August.
When you look up and down the performers in this one, Abs, I mean, Ulunisau was fantastic, far and away the MVP for me in this first match.
Such a standout player. I've seen her play amongst the best in the world, and she has made a name for herself there, and she's already lighting up this pitch. So we will see her with the Loggerheads later on, but to their disappointment, it won't be in that final. They'll be playing off for that 3rd place. But the Loonies, Alev Kelter was all over the pitch, and Bianca Silva, first time pulling on that Loonies jersey, and opened up this scoring here.
Well, you talk about Kelter, and it's her power for me. Obviously, she will be the one that gets credited with the try that ended up winning it for them. But when we think back to Minnesota, she was a force there as well.
She's a force no matter what version of rugby she's playing. She's gone to the World Cup 2 different times for the 15s aside, 2 Olympic appearances for her, and she's still going. A lot of gas left in the tank, I think.
So this one concludes a 19-14 victory for the Loonies over the Loggerheads, and it was Alev Kelter in that final moment, in that final minute of the second half, who powered through and finds the try zone to punch the ticket to DC as Premier Rugby Sevens continues on from PayPal Park in San Jose, California.
You see the team there, Loonies, and that clinched signage, all smiles. Head coach Robin McDowell has been with the Loonies